All right, This Week in Golf podcast, and the U.S. Open just wrapped up, so let's get to it. First, Wyndham Clark. He's the man. Wyndham is the man. Now he's won 2 tournaments in, I think, the last 6 weeks. And let's give him some respect. I kind of dissed him a little bit, so I need to be upfront about that. 6 weeks ago, he won the Wells Fargo. And, you know, I always make these videos for Golf BPM where I take the music of Golf BPM and I time it to whoever won the tournament that weekend, the past weekend. But I don't always do it. I usually do it if, like, you know, Rory wins or Scheffler, or one of the bigger names in golf. And when Wyndham won the Wells Fargo, I dissed him. I just, whatever. I don't know. Maybe I was being lazy that week, or I didn't think he was worthy. And so I was wrong. And so this weekend coming in on Sunday, it was a great leaderboard. Everybody was up there. Scheffler was up there. Rory, Rickie, I forget who else was in there. And then Wyndham Clark. And Wyndham Clark went out and won the tournament. And I want to make that clear. He won the tournament. And the reason I want to say it like that is because if you saw some of the reporting from yesterday, which was Monday, the day after the tournament, and the Twitter sphere and the YouTube prognosticators, it was like as if Rory blew it, or Rickie wasn't, you know, it was like, oh, Rory can't make a putt, right? It's like, no, dude. Wyndham Clark went out and he won, okay? He was the only guy in the field to get to 12 under, okay? He gets to 12 under on, 12 under on Sunday. I'll say that. He gets to 12 under on Sunday. He starts at 10 under. He gets to 12 under, which gives him like a 3-stroke lead. Might have been 4 strokes at that time. And then that allows him to make a few errors coming in. He does back-to-back bogeys. And then 17, he makes a great chip. And 18, he seals it. So he wins. He went out. He won the tournament. It was exciting. It was fun to watch. It wasn't the greatest to watch in a sense that, like, players weren't hitting it super close to the holes, so there wasn't a lot of birdies. But, you know, Wyndham Clark hit a par 5 and 2 putted for a birdie. That gets him to 12 under. So it was pretty much a joy to watch down the stretch. And to see a guy with that much emotion win was awesome. He shot 64. Now, okay, so the first day of the U.S. Open, Rickie Fowler and Xander Schauffele both shot 62, 8 under. And it was like this huge headline. Because Thursday, the course played pretty easy. And then, for whatever reason, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, it tightened up. So just kind of that one day kind of shot the overall scores lower. But that same day that they shot 62, when everybody was making a big deal of that, Wyndham Clark went out and shot 64. So he's only 2 strokes out of the lead. So he shoots 64, 67, 69, and then even par on Sunday. But again, he was 2 under for a while there. That gave him enough cushion to get through to the end, which is interesting because when it came down to the end, there's also a lot of people on the Twitter and YouTube talking about the NBC broadcast and Azinger and what people said and what people did. What a bunch of losers. Like, if you're criticizing, like, a broadcast, come on. Jesus. It's always funny. Like, we played golf with this guy, and he was from Boston. And on, like, the 6th hole, he was going through all the golf commentators and who was the best and why they were the best and whatnot. And I didn't know the guy, and I looked at my friend, and I go, tell me you're from Boston without telling me you're from Boston. I mean, come on. You're complaining about broadcasters. But here's what I will say about that broadcast, okay? The broadcast kind of made it seem like they really wanted him to bogey the last hole. They were trying to jinx him in every way possible. Like, he gets up on the tee, and as he's on the tee, he just needs to make a par. And, like, they flash the little crier on the banner across the bottom. And it's like, he's hit every fairway today. You know, hoping he'd miss the fairway and be in a tough spot. And then when he hits it on the green and he's walking up to the green, the next chyron says, hasn't 3-putted a green all weekend or something like that. And I was like, dude, what are you guys doing here? It was so funny. But the final thing is his mindset, and I wrote a piece on this today. It's on our blog on Golf BPM, but it has to do with basically his self-image, Wyndham Clark's self-image of himself, and it gets into what his mantras were for the week going in, and his mantras were, enjoy yourself, you're on a beautiful course. Number 2, be cocky. And then number 3, don't forget about 1 and 2. So basically, dude's mindset is he's out there, he's enjoying the fact that he's getting to compete in the U.S. Open against the best players in the world, but he's cocky enough to know, I just beat these guys 6 weeks ago. I can beat everybody in this field. I'm the top guy. People should be gunning for me. So when you're looking at that leaderboard going into Sunday and you see those 5 names kind of all jammed up there at the top, and you're thinking, well, Rory's, probably the favorite here. Rickie's the sentimental favorite. And this Wyndham Clark guy is thinking, no, dude, be cocky. You're the man. You're the effing man out here. You've won this thing. You beat these guys before. You can do it. You got every shot in the bag. These guys, they don't know what they're up against. And I really like that self-image. And that's what I was writing about. And it's just what I'll convey here is like, how do you see yourself? And maybe this relates to how you see yourself as a golfer. I'm just a lucky if I break 90 type of guy. I'll always be that guy. Well, there you go. That's why you're always that guy. Or in your job or anything you do, the way you see yourself truly matters in this world. So give it a read. It's a good one. Moving along, we'll give some props to Rickie Fowler. Rickie Fowler was, last year at this time, he was ranked 185 in the world rankings, 185. And he's currently at 35. He has been playing good all season. He played good enough to play himself into the U.S. Open, I think by a top 50, by being in the top 50. And he got a new caddy. He got a new coach. He shot 62 on Thursday. And he was hanging in there pretty good until Sunday. He shot 73. So that's unfortunate. It would have been a great story. I will agree with that. But, nobody cares about your great story or your feelings. It's like what happened. And that's why I think NBC really dropped the ball in the broadcast, as they were hoping so badly that, Rickie or Rory could have won it versus, because let's face it, Rickie and Rory get the clicks. I mean, if you do a podcast, a video, a tweet about Rickie Fowler or Rory today, instead of Wyndham Clark, it's going to get twice as many views. But Wyndham's the man. And he's won 2 tournaments again this year. He gets in there with Homa. Scheffler's won twice. Rahm's won a few times. So, there's a lot of guys who've won 2 tournaments this year, and they're all top name players. So we got to put Wyndham in there. Let's talk briefly about Rory. I think that the people online that have a take that Rory just can't make a putt, I think that's lazy. I think that's very lazy, particularly if you watch the tournament. Guy had a lot of 40-footers, 60-footers, 30-footers. You are right, he didn't make any of them, but there were guys 3-putting all day long on those greens. And he was putting those putts to within like 6 inches. Maybe they would come up on the low side of the hole because he just didn't hit it quite hard enough, or maybe just on the high side and stop the ball right behind the hole. I mean, again, that's a lazy take. It's hard to win a golf tournament, a U.S. Open. And with a guy like Wyndham Clark, let's be honest, the guy was on fire and has been for a few weeks now. So Rory continues to be in the mix going into a Sunday. So I don't know if he'll ever win another major, but I would speculate that he'll win a tournament this year, some sort of tournament. The USGA, as far as the U.S. Open goes, the one thing that the USGA does that's phenomenal is that they give money back to the local community where they have the tournament at. So they're giving, I think, a couple $1 million to the city of LA to help develop some of the courses in the less in the not so great neighborhoods, so we can bring golf to people that aren't just playing at a country club like LA Country Club. And so that's what they do. That's what they did many years ago. They had a U.S. Open at the Olympic Club in San Francisco. They had it a few years, but like 10 years ago or so when Webb Simpson won. But in 98, they had it. And the course next door was Harding Park. And Harding Park was an excellent layout. I used to play it all the time when I was younger. Excellent layout. Similar layout to what it is now. But just like crappy. Not well maintained. And every time you played it, you'd think, why don't they redo this course? It's awesome. It's got the cypress trees. It's right next to the Olympic Club and San Francisco Golf Club. And so the USGA used Harding Park as a parking lot. You actually parked on the fairways that year. And they gave a bunch of money to the city, or I don't know who owns Harding, but whoever owns Harding, they gave the money there. And the USGA rebuilt that course with the thought of having other PGA events there, which they now do. So that's a good way that the USGA is giving back. Got to grow the game. Let's go over the final results of the U.S. Open. Obviously, and the money. Cha-ching. The money, yo. Wyndham Clark, first place, $3.6 million. Rory McIlroy, don't feel bad for him, $2.1 million in second place. Scheffler, perennial Mr. Third the last 6 weeks or so, last probably 4 months, 3 months. Scheffler gets third, $1.4 million. Cam Smith, the highest ranking live player, actually played excellent on Sunday. I think he was 4 or 5 under on Sunday. And he gets, we'll say $1 million. $990,000, $1 million. And then tied for fifth was Fleetwood. Min-Woo Lee, who seems to be in there a lot lately as well, and Rickie Fowler. They tied. They get $738,000 each. Tommy Fleetwood had a great day on Sunday again. I think he was 6 or 7 under as well. He was 7 under, so he could have tied the 8 under U.S. Open course record or U.S. Open round record. Okay, let's look at what's coming up this weekend is the Travelers, and the Travelers is an elevated event. And so they are saying 23 of the world top 30 playing for an elevated purse. Okay, so it looks like we're going to have all the big names there this weekend. Here we go. Well, it doesn't actually give me the 23 of the 36. But anyways, it's a full field. It's an elevated event, so there's a lot of money on the line. The Travelers Insurance. Is it Travelers? No, just the Travelers. Elevated event. $3.6 million to the winner. So there you go. Good cash coming out this weekend. Okay, final topic, a quick one. We'll just go over the Live PGA merger and where things stand right now. Not a lot has changed, except Jay Monahan I think he's stepped down. They say he's taking a medical leave. He's got an undisclosed medical issue, and he's no longer involved. But that's a boring topic, so let's get away from that because nobody knows what the hell's going on with it anyway. It's just like you're just reporting stuff that people say. The bottom line is that the U.S. Open was awesome this weekend. Wyndham Clark's the man. He's won 2 tournaments now this year. And we go into the Travelers. We get an elevated event this weekend as well. So that is This Week in Golf. Hey, it's Jeremy Callahan, and thanks for listening to This Week in Golf. Make sure and hit subscribe so you can get all the latest news and analysis from Golf BPM.